Welcome everybody to the show. I hope you're doing well despite what we watched last night / didn't watch and watched on 2.5 speed this morning, or whatever. Honestly, last night, this is my job, and I really felt guilty. I kept turning it on, Trump's State of the Union address, and then turning it off and watching TV. Whoops. Because it got really boring. It was the longest State of the Union address ever, like an hour and 46 minutes or something. He just went on, and members of Congress were falling asleep. You don't need to get a whole breakdown about it. If you watched it yourself, you can go watch it if you're interested. We'll look at some lowlights. But first, just to start on a funnier note, well, even before that, again, thank you so much for being here. If you're joining live or watching back later or in segment form. But on a funnier note, here is Derek Van Orden, a Republican congressman, being that kid who's trying to say hi to the popular kid, and the popular kid just won't even acknowledge him. Watch this clip. It kills me.
Good job. Thank you.
This is as Trump was leaving. Who's about to come into frame right here is Derek Van Orden, and just you'll hear his voice. He's like, Mr. President, trying to get him to say hello, and Trump just doesn't acknowledge him.
Excellent speech. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Thank you.
Best ever. Where are you going, man?
Oh, that hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. Trump will not turn into him. Mr. President, and then he starts following. Mr. President. It's weird watching these members of Congress who have already met Trump before. And it's Trump. I know he's the president, and like you want to shake his hand, I guess, if you like him. But still, there's something so off about it. Why are you acting like they almost act like they're just a member of a rally crowd and they've never been this close to a president before. Oh my gosh. And then you saw this in a bunch of different cases, just really cringy stuff. But to sum up Republicans at this speech, I think it is best put in video form.
보고를 경청한 대표자들의 신심충출한 열의 속에 대변은 자기의 역사적인 사업을 계속했습니다.
This was Republicans at the speech. That's why I hate watching these speeches, especially Trump ones, when the Republicans are just like, because half the viewing time is just you watching people clap and Trump standing there. And so that was them. But again, the awkwardness of full-grown adults being so nervous to talk to Trump after.
I think you should take the rest of the day off.
I think we have to. We're going to have
to. Did you hear what I said to the president, honey? Ron Filipkowski said, I haven't heard a single new thing in this speech. This is all the same stuff he says every single day. That's what's tough about doing this job in this era of Trump is he just repeats the same stuff, and then you're supposed to fact check it. But it's like we fact check it a billion times. So that's why I don't want to do a whole, here's 500 clips from the speech, because it'll just be the same repurposed junk. Or you have Troy Nels going, can you please sign my tie, Donnie?
Oh, look at this guy. I like that tie. I want that tie. Give me that tie.
Thank you. Okay, John, initial. Just an initial.
Oh, just an initial, please. Will you sign my boob? It's like, what? And people were saying that this behavior from Republicans was like this. Podcast listeners, that is the Trump doing the oral on a microphone, which Trump in that analogy is the microphone and Republicans are the Trump. Just if you can follow my joke there. Zateo put a good
Please come, President Trump. They're begging us to come.
I can't get over Mr. President, please, can we take a selfie? I saw that two Republicans like, wait, can we take a selfie? What is this? Fangirling out. Here's Zateo's breakdown of Trump's speech.
A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're
So spit is just flying out of his mouth during this part. Wow.
winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, no, no. You're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in. And in 1 year, we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record off of food stamps.
So that part, think about how sick this is. When he says we've lifted, you're thinking, oh, people have made more money, so they don't have to be on food stamps anymore, and that's an accomplishment. In reality, as Ateo put up there, the 2.4 million people figure is how many people are being cut from food stamps because of Trump's legislation, since they're cutting funding to food stamps. It's not because we've lifted them out of poverty. It's because we took away their health care, or their food benefits and their health care.
So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. Let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
Can you imagine Trump saying anything about profiting from any office ever, about anyone in the ever? I already said ever, but...
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but
I get it. I hope y'all don't need to see more of that. Yeah, so he's attacking Democrats. They do this thing where they go, Trump said, I think at one point he said, stand up if you think we should prioritize American citizens over quote-unquote illegals. And since Democrats aren't standing up for him, they don't stand up, and then right-wing media gets to go, oh, Democrats think we should prioritize undocumented immigrants over American citizens. And in times gone by, I would have cared more to talk about that. Like, well, actually, it's because they are boycotting standing for Trump's speech in general, not a specific... You get it. I don't care. You think they actually are going, yeah, we think we should do more for undocumented immigrants than citizens? No, they're just not standing for Trump whenever he says stand for me or stand for this topic or whatever, and take issue with it all you want. But what's tough is whenever he's making a point that you might agree with, like if he goes, oh, we're going to honor this person, or this person was tragically murdered, and then in between saying that he's lying, then it's like, if we stand up, are we standing for the thing he's talking about, or the fact that he just lied a bunch in the build up to the thing he's talking about? And then it creates a perfect little fox. Can you believe they didn't? Which is dumb. The only thing I would give Trump credit for, and this is actually like, wow, is that he was able to speak that long without having a panic attack, even though when he looked out in the crowd, he would see this. You gotta give Trump kudos. He's looking out in the audience, and somewhere there's a Rick Scott staring back at him, and somehow he's still able to stay focused. I just ate a third person today. Nom nom. Yummy in my tummy. Okay, yeah. So I guess that's what I'll give him credit for. Let's see this.
I took prescription drugs.
Yeah. He did seem pretty amped, but the audience was not.
The American dream that has been under attack is home ownership. With us tonight is Rachel Wiggins, a mom of two from Houston.
So some folks in the crowd dozing off. You have a Democratic representative saying this.
And I'll just end with this. I would rather stick forks in my eyes than be here tonight to listen to Donald Trump talk about the State of the Union. But this is the people's house, and I will not abandon the people's house.
Was that real? Yeah, it was. That kind of seemed like a high, but I like that. I'd rather stick forks in my eyes. Forks in your mouth, that's where they normally go. Why would it be that? So another thing that he tried to claim, is that he has created the greatest economy ever, and it was all terrible before, and now it's all great now. Something we've heard a lot. Just a reminder, Steve Ratner has this visual. Trump keeps talking about an economic turnaround, but GDP growth is down, and so is job growth. You can see the job growth there. Look at the differences in averages between 2024 and 2025 in job growth. Podcast listeners, I'll describe here. Does that help? Up, and Trump down, lower. And then GDP growth has also slowed under Trump, despite him saying that everything has gotten better. Plus, the stock market they point to a lot, the Dow 50,000 thing. And even on that, Justin Wolfers points out the stock market gains in the United States were less than half that in the rest of the world. So despite us still, seeing gains, it's, one could assume, actually been worse than it would have been if Trump wasn't in office. So I do find that notable. Thank you all so much for joining us. We have a lot to talk about. Now we get to the more fun part, which is reactions to the speech and Republicans being very cringy, but a reminder, we're here noonish Eastern time, Monday through Friday live, or just by going to the homepage under that full daily show sort of description. You can watch back the full show whenever you would like. Let's talk about this now. Mike Johnson, in the wake of Trump's State of the Union address, said something that I guess was supposed to be motivating to voters, but actually was the most devastating statement he could make to Trump possible, that I don't think Trump is going to like hearing. Take a look at this.
He needs all 4 years, not just 2, to fix the mess. And that's what we need. If we lost the midterms, heaven forbid, if we lost the majority in the House, it would be the end of the Trump presidency in a real effect. So we've got to keep this going, and I think we're excited to put our candidates on the field to explain all this to the people.
Wild thing to say when you're on Trump's side. That's what Newsom has been saying. The midterms are our chance to end Trump's presidency after only 2 years effectively, because finally there'll be a check on his power if Democrats were to get the House and Senate. Mike Johnson says it, which is like the biggest don't threaten me with a good time. I think that given Trump's approval rating, you don't want to be running around in the midterms saying if you vote for Democrats, you could effectively end Trump's presidency in the midterms, because Americans are saying in polling, that's what we want. We want this presidency to be over. The strategy from Republicans should be to be like, Trump who? We don't know a Trump. We're just our own thing. That's the best approach. And he just did the opposite and told something to Trump that he definitely would not want to hear, which is your presidency could be over in a year, effectively, which is not actually true. He can do a lot of stuff, even if Democrats have the House and Senate. They could be destructive and consequential and all that, but a pretty shocking thing for him to say, leading the headline.
I don't know anything about that.
Top MAGA lackey makes shocking admission about Trump presidency. So that's brutal. Then another clip of Mike Johnson saying he just cannot believe that any Democrat would boycott Trump's State of the Union address.
It's shameful that they would boycott an address. We don't do that. Republicans don't do that. It doesn't matter if there's a president from the opposing party. We don't skip out. Our constituents want and need us to be here. Every member of this House represents over 750,000 people. They're disenfranchised if you're not sitting in the seat to be a part of the role and the responsibility of Congress. I think it's shameful. Republicans have a far simpler and far superior message for Americans watching at home. We're putting more money back in your pockets. We're restoring peace through strength. We're defending our border and deporting criminal illegal aliens. We're standing up for American industry and manufacturing. And we're making American workers, not foreign countries, the clear winners in this American economy. Those are not talking points. That is what we have delivered. It's called Republican results. And we are.
You delivered the opposite of all those things, but okay. So he's pouting that how you're this is a guy who assisted in Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, meaning actually disenfranchising voters based on what they wanted to do with their vote. And he wants to say it's disenfranchising your voters to not show up to the State of the Union. Buddy, that's really a stretch. And also, Republicans would never do such a thing. Oh, community note. Just recently, GOP members boycotted President Biden's State of the Union. He's lying. Yeah, so that's another aspect where you'll have accounts like Mike Lee saying, I've been to 16 of these. I've never seen Republicans behave like this during a Democratic State of the Union. And it's Democrats shouting at Trump.
Of criminal aliens, in many cases, drug.
Saying you have killed Americans. You've never seen a Republican behave like that in a Democratic State of the Union, Mike Lee?
Kiss my ass.
You remember these two? You remember this? Liar! Okay, sure. So that's, my feeling, you might even hear in my voice, is just kind of, what do we do with this? They just say stuff, and then we go, that's not true, and they're like, haha. And then we move forward. It's a very strange world that we're in. This is fun. Rick Scott, after scaring Trump by being in the audience, he then shows up with his friend, and this is an interesting tag team.
This week, joining us now, Republican Senator Rick Scott of Florida, and his guest for the speech tonight, the chairman of O'Leary Ventures and Shark Tank Judge Kevin O'Leary. Thanks to both of you.
Wow. I don't know if heaven or hell is a thing. I don't think so, with the whole hell burning forever thing. Let's say it is. I'm walking down the street, right? Splat. And then I close my eyes and I'm like, I'm dying. And then it goes dark and I go, I guess it's just going to go dark then. And then it goes, do, 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 as I drop down to hell. And then this would be it. Welcome to hell. And it would be these two just smiling at me. Are you ready for us to stick forks in your eyes? So that's fun. Laura Ingraham thinks this is possibly Trump's best speech ever. Or, excuse me, one of the best State of the Unions ever.
Inflation, elevating illegal aliens over the American people. We have a rendezvous with destiny. It was a little bit Reagan-esque, especially toward the end. I think this could have been the best speech he has ever delivered, and I'm interested to see perhaps a little bump in the polls. But regardless, any historian who's writing about this presidency has to watch this speech tonight and read it carefully, because this, to me, is one of the best speeches as a State of the Union I've heard in probably 20 years. Harold.
They just say stuff. One of the best State of the Unions in 20 years. You know what she was saying at the beginning of this really bothered me, I think is more substantive. She thinks one of the reasons, which I'll play now, that this was one of the best State of the Unions in 20 years and it's Trump's best, is because he clearly delivered a decisive message on America being something special and something to be embodied. And apparently she thinks Democrats don't believe that.
The president's made his way out of there fairly quickly, Laura, and he seems to be in a very good mood. I think he looks like he feels things went really well tonight.
Yeah, I think the ending of that speech really underscores the debate we've been having in America since about 2008. Many on the left believe the idea of America is kind of played out. Globalization, globalism has really won the day. And Trump comes roaring in 2016. He says, not so fast. America is coming back. We have a destiny that we have to fulfill. We're the greatest country in the face of the earth.
So that's a part of what her context was for ultimately saying this was one of the best speeches ever, which is that Trump, as opposed to Democrats, believes that there's an American idea that isn't gone, that there's something to be sought after, that there's a unique identity, that our role in the world stage is uniquely consequential, or whatever she's saying there. And let me just remind you, this isn't a State of the Union, but she says since 2008, the left and right have been debating over whether or not America as an idea is still relevant. Remember that in 2016, this is what one of the most prominent Democrats was saying.
Senate, The 21st century is going to be the American century. Because we lead not only by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. That is the history of the journey of America. And God willing, Hillary Clinton will write the next chapter in that journey. We are America, second to none, and we own the finish line. Don't forget it. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Come on. We're America.
So we had a little bit more juice in the tank back then.
Medicare.
But it's not unique to actually, I think the Republican Party degrades the idea of America. But you can't do this thing where you go, our opposition just doesn't believe that America as a concept or unique principles or a destiny is a relevant idea anymore. You just made that up. You pulled that out of your rear end. I've never heard Trump speak about America like that, by the way. I'm going to start doing that after a speech, just shouting, "We're America! Come on!" That's just a good, yeah! Pretty good. So that was kind of made up from Laura Ingraham, but whatever makes you feel better than Ted Cruz.
Let's stop attacking pedophiles.
He said it again? Oh my gosh.
And I got to say, President Trump gave a majestic speech tonight. It was bold, it was optimistic, it was forward-looking, and it was a litany of successes.
A majestic speech tonight, says Ted Cruz. I don't even want to play this, but Tony Dokapil, who's this new CBS anchor and very indicative of this new era of CBS being milquetoast, both sidesism, and MAGA coziness, had this analysis of the speech.
59 p.m. here on the East Coast, the first State of the Union address of Donald J. Trump's second term is in the books. You saw on the wide shot there. Members rushing for the exits. If they hurry, they can maybe make it in front of the cameras and the iPhones in time for their local news and to get the reaction in. It was an extraordinary speech, the longest to a joint session in history, the longest State of the Union in history. In some ways, vintage Trump, combative, populist, historic for other reasons as well. The first part of the speech, all about the economy, an issue we know a lot of Americans want to hear about.
Him lying about what he's done on it. Do you want to add that, Tony? You want to add that? He spoke a lot about the economy and immigration, and it was really vintage Trump. Whatever the heck that means, Tony. This is the same Tony who opened up his primetime show with a "We salute you, Marco Rubio" segment. "You're the ultimate Florida man," said Tony. And like a compilation of memes. Marco Rubio's dominating culture because people are making memes of him sitting on a couch in the Oval Office. And then here he describes it as extraordinary and vintage Trump. Then y'all know one of my favorite types of segments, and by favorite I mean most ridiculous, is whenever news anchors walk into a random diner in some place somewhere and go, "Hi, I'm a Fox News anchor. Today I'm gonna go walk in to a diner and talk to normal people and see what they think."
Good morning. Yeah, I'm at Doug's place here in Emerson, Georgia. What did you think of the speech last night? It was the truth. He told me.
Well, it looked like they were about to make out. That was crazy. That was great. Who's Steve? Steve. What'd you think of the... Hey, regular person, what'd you think of the...
What did you think of the speech last night? It was the...
Wasn't Trump's speech so good?
Truth. He told me the truth. They like the speech. What'd you think?
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. Here's a table. This guy, aren't these kids supposed to be in school? We've got a little time to get there. All right. What's your favorite part of the speech?
Trump saying how much winning we've done.
Okay. Love that. Also, a big part of the speech.
They're all clapping. Does someone have a gun behind that camera? That was weird. The kid's like, "How much winning Trump did? Wow. I don't understand these segments at all. See, America loves Trump. You went into a diner called MAGA World in the middle of a county called Trump has a huge manhood. Obviously, they like him. Now, that's not literally true, but you go pick a really red area. What's insightful about that? I don't know. Abigail Spanberger delivered the response to Trump's State of the Union. I'll just play a little bit.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to historic Williamsburg. We are gathered here in the chambers of the House of Burgesses. In 1705, the people of the Virginia colony gathered here to take on the extraordinary task of governing themselves. Before there was a Declaration of Independence, a Constitution, or a Bill of Rights, there were people in this room. The people who served here ultimately dreamed of what a new nation, unlike anything the world had ever seen, could be. The United States was founded on the idea that ordinary people could reject the unacceptable excesses of poor leadership, band together to demand better of their government, and create a nation that would be an example for the world.
And then she goes on to, respond to what Trump has been saying. I'm going to be honest, despite it being a good response, you can go watch it if you'd like. I literally only played that so that I could show you how a normal politician is able to speak in their State of the Union response, which is, normally with enough moisture in your mouth so that you don't completely lose the ability to speak. And I just wanted to play this Marco Rubio response to Obama.
On foreign policy, America continues to be indispensable to the goal of global liberty, property, and safeguarding human rights. The world is a better place when America is the strongest nation on earth. But we can't remain powerful if we don't have an economy that can afford it. In the short time that I've been here in Washington, nothing has frustrated me more than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight. The choice isn't just between big government or big...
No, we're never going to forget it, Marco. I'm sorry. We salute you, Marco, but we got to keep playing that clip. Then Jim Jordan really wants us to know that Trump's State of the Union was apple pie. Not as American as apple pie, not like apple pie, just that it was apple pie.
Give us your sense of the president's speech last night.
It's apple pie. I mean, he would Congressional Medals of Freedom, Congressional Medals of Honor, Olympic gold medals, Purple Hearts. It was as apple pie and patriotic as I've ever seen. The only one that compares, and Kevin and I have been to a lot of these, last night's I think was the best one I've ever been to. But when you go back a few years ago when the First Lady gave Rush the Medal of Freedom, that was a special night as well. But last night I thought was even better. I mean, the hockey team there, it was as apple pie as you get. And I always say we made
first.
What? That's not how the phrase goes, man. That's apple. That's like instead of going, that's tight, you just go, apple pie. It's like in How I Met Your Mother. Brian Callen, actually, who acts in that show, does this. Who I, hung out with, or got interviewed by is a better way to put it. And they kept going, their characters were kind of douchebags, and anytime something was cool, they would say steak sauce, because steak sauce is good, I guess. And so then that's the new thing, apple pie. You didn't even make it. You're just saying it's quintessentially American. At a State of the Union, the president looking over at the other party and being like, "You're sick people. You should be ashamed of yourself." Apple pie, tight. There's Tommy Tuberville.
So the rest of the story, look, America today is a prosperous country, it's a safe country, and it's a very well-respected country around the world. Don't you think?
Oh, and I'll tell you why. We got the hardest working president ever. He's not getting a lot of help from Congress, either the House or the Senate, Republicans either. We've done a little bit here. We should have done another reconciliation on health care before the first of the year. We didn't do it for some reason. We have another one we can do. All it takes is a little bit of work, but President Trump sleeps about 2 hours a day. He's bound and determined not to just take care of the people, the taxpayers here, but as I said, the rest of the hemisphere, what he did down...
This is so weird. It's weird for a senator to get up there and go, we're barely doing anything, but Trump is really, really crushing it. I like how Larry, I think Kudlow has seen us make fun of him for being low energy, because here he really tried to amp it up.
And it's a very well-respected country around the world, don't you think?
I've been watching Luke's show saying I'm too sleepy. Don't you think? Good job, Larry. You're making progress. Then they did this focus group, which again, this whole concept confuses me. These are swing state voters. Okay, I don't know if they're swing voters, but maybe swing state voters. But sometimes they'll do before or after presidential debates swing voters. Like in the last election, there were voters who didn't know if they were voting for Kamala or Trump yet. And they would do interviews and be like, did that debate change your mind? And they go, I'm just still weighing my options. It's like, you got Trump on one hand, Kamala. Which one do I choose? And I don't understand those people with love. So here, this isn't as bad as the diners, because at least they're presenting it as we brought people in to give their opinion, as opposed to like, we just stumbled into a diner and people were cheering Trump for some reason. But here's some of the clips from that. One of the guys thought this speech was great.
But you said that you enjoyed this speech and that there were moments that moved you. What moved you about this speech?
Well, the celebrating people is always good. But again, that $18 trillion investment, the $25 million in Trump accounts. But I did hear something on the health care, right? We have a law, the Obamacare.
I'll play the rest of it, but here's his accomplishments. 18 trillion investments. That's made up, sir. Please tell me you know at least in a ballpark the size of the U.S. economy? Because that really puts into perspective what 18 trillion is. You think more than half of the U.S. economy has been added to the U.S. economy just since Trump got into office. Strange. But that's made up. And then he says something about the Trump accounts. And then he says, I heard something about health care, that they're taking it away.
The ACA, and we don't have we don't have a way around it, and it's really just pooled care that's gone up every year. And this most favored nation, he's taken a stab at lowering the cost for us. And unless the legislature acts, he's at least doing something that's going to hit our pocket.
Has it hit your pocketbook? Have you noticed it? Has it worked? That would be my my main follow-up. But yeah, we're going to talk about in the next segment, there is this rhetoric of the ACA has failed, so maybe what Trump is doing is reasonable. Number one, the ACA wasn't enough, but it did slow the increase of premiums and expanded coverage at the same time. So did premiums still continue to go up? Yes, but at a slower pace, and tens of millions of more Americans, are now covered, have health insurance because of it. So not enough, not effective enough, but way better than what is always the Republican alternative, which is, so let's just take it away. It's not working well enough, so let's just take it away. Doesn't exactly track, but some of the other focus group members were not huge fans.
The thing that I missed the most was a focus on the economy and looking forward. And Supreme Court struck the tariffs down, and he's going for another round of tariffs. And I also think that's the wrong direction. Tariffs cost our company a lot of money. Our costs are up, and we need to control our costs. And, without, raising rates, we can't give raises to our employees. We can't help them. So I'm stuck in that kind of vicious cycle of raise the rates, prices go up, raise the rates. And, how do we continue that?
So he didn't help you at all on the tariff stuff at all?
No, we didn't get his answer there, but my assumption is that it is no. And then finally someone called into C-SPAN.
I just want to say, and I mean this in all sincerity, this man is mentally unfit to be president. He doesn't live, everything comes out of some weird thing in his head, but he is not living in reality, honestly. He needs to be impeached.
Well, when it comes to the speech last night specifically, what was your reaction to that?
It is. It's like listening to, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just making up stuff out of hand. I live in the real world. Prices are up. I don't live in his world where whatever he wants it to be. He just.
I like the wording. Number one, he's mentally unfit. Number two, everything he says comes from a weird thing in his brain. Yeah. Or the weird thing that is his brain, I guess, is where
A brain.
stuff comes from. And it all is very confusing. And that's a good way to put it from that voter. That he's living in a different world than the rest of us. Okay, Josh Johnston said, "Wow, dude, just dox me like that? First and last name? Unbelievable. You set me up." Intuition Jin sent 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. And then Jared Frank said, "I still didn't enjoy Omar and Talib's heckling you." That's a part of what my vibe is today about some of that is I'm like, oh, whatever. Not that it doesn't matter so much, but like the antics of it, or the annex, as Marjorie Taylor Greene will put it, are seemingly not moving the ball down the field. Because if you agree with what they're saying, you're going to like the heckling. If you don't, you're going to be like, oh, how could you ever heckle? But of course, I would say, I don't know. I really don't know, to answer your question. Is it beneficial at all for Americans to see that some people are horrified? Does that make their mind go, oh, maybe what he's saying is not true? Because otherwise, if you just tune in and you're not very political, you might go, oh, really? He did all this? But if some people are like, you're lying, does that do anything? I don't know. But then also it kind of makes it feel less professional. But are we past professional? I really don't know. The whole discussion around, oh, Democrats didn't stand up, or these ones heckled, or these ones didn't go to the State of the Union, or Trump showed that he can speak for this. It just all felt like, at this point, it's a little different than Biden. You remember whenever Biden gave his State of the Union, it was kind of a chance for him to prove that he was on it, because there were a lot of doubts around, can he do it? And he got up there and he did it. Which gave us a little bit too much hope going into the debate.
Life, liberty, pursuit of that.
But there was more of a thing to prove. Whereas Trump, we all kind of knew what was going to happen, and then it happened, and then it's over, and then we keep moving forward with all of what's happening. Doesn't feel as consequential as some State of the Unions are. All right, to this. Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin is one of the goofiest members of the Senate.
Give me a joke.
He's one of those guys that you go, he's a senator? Oh, I could be a senator. Like that's similar to how Trump is the president. You go, oh, I could be president then. It's a similar thing with him.
Sucking at being number one at being terrible governor.
I didn't know he had that one. Can you play that one more time?
Sucking at being number one at being terrible governor.
Yeah. Well, he got into it with Bernie Sanders during a hearing about Trump's Surgeon General nominee. And we'll look at a clip from that a little bit later. But first, let's look at the back and forth where Markwayne Mullin was going on and on and on. And then he goes, oh, I've been ranting too much. And Bernie jumps in and goes, yes, you have.
The ranking member wants us to talk about all the death that is supposedly going to be happening because of President Trump and Secretary Kennedy, because how dare they look at a healthcare system that is broken and unaffordable and try to make changes, but yet the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing, expecting different results, so we should just sit here and accept it?
Mic drop! I'm so sick of that definition of insanity. You know what the definition of sanity is? Saying what is the definition of sanity over and over.
And how dare we look into vaccines to just simply look to see if maybe vaccines may be a partial cause to autism when it's
right. Well, I can't let him go. Sorry, we're going to get to the notable part, but I have to address that. Stop it, you goober. No one's saying you can't look into vaccines. We did. Over and over. So stop denying the evidence that we already got from looking into them that shows there's not increased autism outcomes with vaccinated children. And you could go find that information. It's so annoying to be like, why won't they let us ask? We did. Hey, thousands of researchers did it, dude. And now we have an answer. So stop lying that either there's a different answer or that no one's asked the question.
Rising at a rate faster than any country in the nation? How dare us look at...
Markwayne, he's the worst governor of any in the governor. He said our autism rates are rising faster than any country in the nation.
Country in the nation?
We're never going to get to Bernie.
Partial cause to autism when it's rising at a rate faster than any country in the nation? How dare us look at science? Oh, my goodness. Science is supposed to be perfect. I thought science was always supposed to be studied. I'm for looking into it.
No, science is the studying, not, you don't. I love this guy.
As a father of 6 kids, yeah, I want to look into it. I want to know what's causing it. And I will turn over every stone. And so Dr. Means, thank you for saying I want to turn over every stone. Good on you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not sitting here trying to say we shouldn't do something. I'm saying let's go after it. Let's look at it. Let's question what we're doing. Let's look at the healthcare system. We can agree on that one. I just don't want to socialize it. But we can agree that it is absolutely not affordable. 100% not affordable. Yet it was supposed to be affordable. That's what we was sold by Obamacare. So how about we work together and say, hey, so scrap ACA, admit it doesn't work, admit you guys made a mistake, and let's work at something with President Trump to make affordable health care healthy and affordable for everybody. But there's zero chance you guys could do that. Zero chance. Yet everybody we bring up here, you guys chastise for trying to make changes. God forbid we change and go after and try to fix our broken system. Anyways, I ranted too long. Let's talk about some...
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask your opinion on that. And if I cared about your opinion, I would ask you. But I don't care about your opinion.
Well,
you're part of the system. You're part of the problem. You've been sitting here longer than I've even been alive. This is your problem. You should have fixed this a long time ago. You've been railing on it so long. What have you been doing?
I've decided not to run for Surgeon General. You're the nominee. I've decided not to accept that nominee.
That is definitely something we would never accept.
He said that Bernie's been has been railing on the healthcare system. I guess he meant railing. Bernie loves railing the healthcare system. Yes, I do. So I said this in the last segment. Again, just because of the flaws with the Affordable Care Act doesn't mean that it's better than what we had before or than what the situation would be if we didn't have it. We did see the increase in premium costs slow, the rate of increase slow, and more people, millions of more Americans got coverage, as I referenced in the last segment. So Markwayne Mullins, let's just scrap it and then see what happens, is not a thoughtful solution. Hey, how about if you think it's so bad, but you also don't want to expand to a universal health insurance program as Bernie would want, then how about you think of a coherent plan, pitch it, then see if we want to scrap ACA. But they always go, well, let's just scrap ACA and then make something different. But that's worse than just the status quo. You ripping away people's health insurance is worse. I wish we could be moving in a positive direction as opposed to just always fighting off their attempts to gut people's health care. Wow, that was something else, huh? I love how Bernie barely had to say anything and he won. He just went, yes, you did. But it's because everyone, including the person that Markwayne Mullin was being supportive of, Casey Means, I think is her name, even she's sitting there like, what's going on with Markwayne? And is it 2 words or 1, that name? All right, this reminded me of Markwayne Mullin almost fighting the Teamsters president a while ago.
Now, let's talk about Mr. O'Brien himself, his behavior. As everybody knows, and it's here in the last time, him and I kind of had a back and forth. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. In fact, you tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And let me read what the last one said. It said, greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be 2 consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, this.
So I know that he's trying to start a fight. That sounded weird. That sounded kind of weird. We can be 2 consenting adults and finish here. Here's a time. Here's a place. Let's finish here. Okay? Right here.
Cowboy.
A cowboy. Come here, cowboy. This is a time. It's a place. I got the lasso if you got the gaff. Yeehaw. I'll be your cowboy if you'll be my cowgirl.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your
Solution every Republican. No, sit down.
Sorry, Eric,
Sit down. Okay, you know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it.
Okay, this is the cringiest thing ever, where Mark Wayne clearly doesn't want to fight because he doesn't walk over to Sean O'Brien. But he just goes, oh, yeah? Okay. So you want to do it? Oh, so you want to? And then Bernie goes, no, sit down. And Mark Wayne's like, okay, fine. You know what? Fine. Hey, you better be glad he stopped me. You better be. Bernie's like, I'm not touching you. Go fight him if you want. You're like, no, Bernie told me I can't. Bernard, shut it down. But he doesn't even walk. He just stands up like, oh, yeah? Uh-huh. Oh, so you want to do this? But the second Bernie goes sit down, he's like, fine. You know what? We both taken shots. Let's just wrap it here.
Is that your solution every Republican? No, sit down. Sorry, Eric, sit down. Okay, you know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Sure, yeah, I'll sit down. But did everyone give me points for being tough? And then, so Mark Wayne's on a really bad roll lately. Here is him before the State of the Union, not understanding how numbers work.
Start talking about the economy and the amount that we brought down inflation. We cut it in half on average, but from a high of 9.1 to 2.4.
But when he came into office, it was about where it is right now.
Well, but we stabilized it. When you start talking about energy cost, the way the energy costs have come.
Energy costs are up, and you didn't stabilize inflation. They do this. They go, it's down from 8 or whatever, 9%. Talking about the peak of pandemic inflation. And then they compare that to what inflation is now. But they never compare what inflation is now to what it was when Trump took over, which is about the same. And he reversed the trend of a significant cooling that was happening. So yeah, actually, you did stabilize it. It would have gone lower if you hadn't stabilized it, which is what the trends were showing. And a lot of these Republicans, Mark Wayne Mullen there, Byron Donalds here, just don't really even understand what to do when you say real economic numbers to them.
The previous economy under Joe Biden, we all know that was a terrible economy for everybody. Everybody was suffering in America.
You brought up GDP growth. Inflation was higher, but GDP growth was also higher during the Biden administration than certainly it was last quarter and the average of year to year. But Congressman, I do want to ask you about...
That's not true, but okay.
GDP growth?
That's not true, but okay. It literally is. GDP growth in 2025 was, let me just quickly, 2.8%. GDP growth in 2024 was 2.8%. In 2025 was 2.2%. So GDP growth did slow after Trump took office. I don't know why he so confidently denied that. And then, yes, this Casey Means Surgeon General nominee for Trump was grilled by Democratic Senator Chris Murphy. That's where the first clip of Bernie and Mark Wayne comes from.
Function Health, which is your lab testing platform, data shows that you disclosed your partnership with them less than a third of the time that you recommended their services online. Genova Diagnostics, you disclosed your sponsorship in only 2 of the 9 times that you promoted Genova. Daily Harvest, you disclosed your sponsorship in only 3 of the 14 posts recommending that product. Zen Basil Seeds, you disclosed your partnership only 2 out of the 13 times that you recommended the product. This seems systemic. It seems that in the majority of instances in which you were, as a medical professional, recommending a product, you were hiding the fact that you had a financial partnership. You seem to be in regular willful violation of the FTC rules. That is concerning as someone who agrees with Senator Cassidy that our focus has to be on restoring trust in the medical profession. And yet over and over again, you seem to be at scale recommending products without telling your followers. And you have 200,000 newsletter subscribers. You have almost 1 million Instagram followers. And in only 3 out of 14 times on Daily Harvest, when you were promoting Daily Harvest, you disclosed that you're getting paid by them?
It sounds like you have a lot to say about this issue, and I would be very interested to see how your staff looked at this data. I have a strong feeling that the way in which they gather this data is done intentionally to create these claims that you're making.
Well, I have the backup here. I mean, will you acknowledge that in many instances when you were promoting these products, you did not disclose that you had a financial relationship?
I don't think that's true. If it has happened, if it inadvertently has happened, I would rectify that immediately.
If it has inadvertently happened most of the time, then I would rectify it. I'd do some serious rectifications. Stat. Immediately. Yeah, so I mean, come on. You gotta have something dishonest or sort of corrupt or something to be in Trump's administration. Makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, I'm going to start with the one that just most recently came in. Keith Peavyhouse said, "I'm so tired of hearing nonsensical Trump political crap. Could you please explain what exactly Jaden and Cole do other than being eye candy?" What a funny way to put it. Because when I called them, I said, I need the audience to want to watch because they know at any moment it could cut to 2 hottie patatis. And would y'all just sit there? Y'all don't know this. I'm actually cutting the cameras and doing everything my own. I edit everything. I upload everything. And they just have fake computers sitting there so that they can look pretty. No. So to answer your question, go to you can't really see the monitors, I guess. Complicated setup. As I'm talking, there's no way I can also be doing like a pow pow. Oh, we're cutting this, we're cutting that. So that's Jaden's job. Then while we're doing the show, Cole is sending me the comments that I'm gonna read, and then playing the sound bites. Y'all know that. And then after the fact,
I love cows.
Right. We do editing of the content, breaking it up into segments to upload as individual videos, posting short form content thing is anytime we have projects that need a lot of editing, that's Cole's forte. Whenever we're doing any number of things, the two of them are working mainly in sort of the editing world, producing world. So that's what they do, I guess, as well as looking pretty. That's a compliment. Yeah. So it's very nice because I can focus on just making the show, and then everything that happens after that, it getting up on YouTube and all the technical side of things and all the different projects we have going can be managed by them. It's pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. All right. Speaking of Chris Murphy, you can put this up, Jaden. Chris Murphy, as well as other leaders, had an alternative State of the Union event. So kind of not going to do the State of the Union, but we'll do our own event. And as Chris Murphy was speaking, you had a Trump supporting heckler come up. The heckler immediately was ripped off the stage. But if you're going to run on stage to heckle someone, okay, and scream, "Go Trump," as Chris Murphy is telling a very powerful story about the person standing next to him, maybe just make sure that the crack in between your 2 butt cheeks is not viewable. Because that's what happened with this Trump supporter, was he runs up stage, and as he's getting ripped off stage, you can see he has a plumber crack. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Let me play this for you. You see what I mean.
Not one more dime for the Department of Homeland Security until they start following the law in this country. Fair Stay came to this country over a decade ago, coming to the United States from a refugee camp. She told me just off stage that this is the moment. This is the reason that she came here to the United States, to speak truth to power, to explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant, that every refugee goes through to get here. and to press this country to
border. They stuck in the border. Go Trump. Go Trump.
Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
And of course, here you can see that he did forget to pull up his pants before he ran on stage, which is like, oof. That's just this is your moment. You're heckling. This clip is going to go viral. You're being a meanie pants. And then your pants are down. And no one needs that. I mean, you're literally an ass. I have to say, anytime a heckler runs on stage, that's really scary as a politician in our current environment. And I always am fascinated by how different people respond. I admired how Chris Murphy didn't even budge. Watch this.
Border. They stuck in the border. Go Trump. Go Trump.
Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. And then he just picks up where he left off.
Listen, guys. Bearish Day is here to lift us up to a common purpose and to a common goal, to understand that the best of America lies in how we treat those who have arrived to this country fleeing terror and torture and desperation. We have work to do, guys. We have a mission that we need to complete. Get here and to press this country to
border. They stuck in the border. Go
I guess this is a split screen version.
Trump. Go Trump.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so people were laughing too because I think they saw the little boom. You know what confused me? I didn't notice that initially, but then the Mediaite article about this had this phrase. And I was like, what? So it was out. It was out. And that's awkward. And you know what it reminded me of was this guy who picked a fight with anti-ICE children who were protesting, doing like a school walkout, high school kids, and he walks up annoyed and one of them grabs his glasses or his hat and then he tackles a little girl. Let's see. People saying we're doing an ICE walkout, we're protesting ICE with signs, and he says, you know what, I could teach that little girl a lesson and fight her. Don't you ever pick a fight with a little girl as a grown man. And if you do and you lose, you never go in public again. Ever. This is a similar vibe here. If your big moment is you storming the stage and your butt comes out, you just go ahead and never go in public again. It's not quite as bad as attacking a little girl over her protesting ICE. That really, and as I said, you would never want to do that. And then in the case where you did for some reason and you get beat up by a bunch of high schoolers, that's it for being in public as a person in our society. Automatic house arrest and culture. So you saw in the clip one of the things the pro-Trump protester was opposed to was the pro-immigrant language from Chris Murphy. We saw in the wake of Trump's State of the Union a lot of right-wing takes to that effect. And Coulter saying that beautiful ending to Trump's State of the Union address reminds me why we can't have a second, third, or fourth generation immigrant as president. Love for our country has to be in your genes, which is obviously a kind of psychotic point. But Trump is a second generation immigrant. Guys, she said we can't have a second, third, or fourth generation immigrant because you need love of America in your bones. White bones, by the way. But not that non-white people's bones aren't white, but you get my point. And not realizing that Trump is a second generation immigrant through his Scottish-born mother and third generation immigrant through his German-born paternal grandparents. How do you mess that up? How do you not Google before you say that? And obviously there's a racial undertone to her point there. Plus, if you don't understand people who come from immigrant families or themselves are immigrants, so often have the most passionate love for the country because they have perspective on what's special about it. Because they came here identifying what was special about it. And so that point's ridiculous as well. And it reminded me of Mehdi Hasan's moment at a recent speech.
The great irony is, of course, that Donald Trump is the son of an immigrant, the grandson of an immigrant, and married to an immigrant. In fact, 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants, proving yet again that immigrants will do the jobs that even Americans are not willing to do.
Such a banger. Such an absolutely brutal banger. So there's that. And then to address a little bit more of Ann Coulter's point, we've kind of swung now in a different direction, but something the Republican Party has done for a while, which is try to frame their party as the exclusive home of patriotism. And then in her case, she proves how unpatriotic she is by poo-pooing on a very American idea, coming here, loving our principles, and then becoming a part of the country is quintessentially American. So she's undermining her own patriotism, but she's also exhibiting a Republican talking point that they've tried out for a long time, which is, if you're not with us, you're not patriotic. And it's an interesting thing to be saying in the era of Trump, where so many of the values that previously and still globally people would point to as the American identity and the American values, Trump has completely degraded, namely our democratic institutions and principles of free speech and constitutional ideas. And so in that context, for them to be chirping about how we're not the patriotic ones is quite laughable. All right, Son of Liberty said, "Hey Luke, Gen X here, my 14-year-old son and I love your show. Please shout out Evan from Dad." Evan, shout out. I hope you're doing well. Sincerely, Dad. Andy Haro said, "You think you guys in America will ever catch on to universal health care? I spent 3 months in hospital and I paid a whopping $0. Oh my gosh. Yes. In 2040, whatever, when I become president, we'll have universal health care. Just wait, everyone." Tori Walton said, "What kills me is the fact that the ACA failed because of private insurance companies effing people over because they were forced to be accountable." David said, "I think he said relic. He may have been calling Bernie old." Did I say Son of Liberty? Thank you for becoming a member by clicking the join button. Intuition Jen said, "When did we as a nation allow ourselves to become a reality TV show?" Good question. When we elected Trump. MJ became a member as well by clicking that join button on YouTube. Thank you all so much. That was the aftermath of the State of the Union. I'm happy we're not going to have to talk about it anymore. Hopefully tomorrow's more fun. Analyzing the State of the Union isn't that fun to me, but I hope you had fun or something. Much love. Talk to you next time.